So, Bill and Adam, you've created this wonderful course in edX on blended learning, and I understand that it came out of a book that you wrote. Can you tell us a little bit about why you wrote a book, the need for that book, and what the course is all about?
Why don't you take it, Adam?
Okay. Bill and I, along with Soulaymane Kachani, have been working for almost 10 years at Columbia in a bunch of different areas around digital education. And we had planned actually a book about digital case method, which is something that we've been working on for quite some time. And the pandemic came along. And Soulaymane had the idea to say, well, why don't we actually reach out to a lot of our colleagues at other institutions? Everybody's going through this incredible moment of change and adaptation, and talk to people and see some of the common, threads. And so we ended up doing about 50 interviews with top, vice provosts, CEOs of ed tech companies. And we also branched out and talked to a lot of leaders of development groups, the UN, the World Bank, who are also doing digital education. And so out of all of this emerged a lot of information about some best practices and also some exciting things that we saw happening. And one of the big takeaways was it was a lot of the issues that people were having were management issues. Our universities are set up, to deliver a very much a 19th century model of education. The pandemic forced everyone online. The sort of online learning that happened generally was emergency remote learning. It wasn't planned digital online learning that we all as we understand it. And so we wanted to sort of take stock of this moment and really say, well, for those people who are sort of getting it right on the management side, what are the changes you do? How do you structure things? Do you work with an outside partner or an OPM? Do you create an in-house unit or an in-house OPM? What's the structure that really seems to work in terms of planning and designing digital programs? And what's the university's role in all this? Are we making online classes to make more money, or are we making online classes to share with the world knowledge and help solve the problems of the world? And so we asked all these questions, and that's we put in our book. So the book is very heavy with interview quotes. It's very heavy with concrete examples and a lot of management theory. And that's really where Bill's expertise comes in. Bill, you want to talk about why a management book in this area was needed?
Well, thank you, Michael, for having us. Real gift, and we really appreciate it. There's so much to talk about in the field that we all work in. But I'll just say I'll frame a couple of things, which will repeat a little bit what Adam said. But we've been trying to innovate in teaching and learning, lots of us, for a long time. As technology advanced, as universities became more serious about teaching. I think for a long time, universities weren't serious about teaching at all. In fact, Columbia would boast about what a great research university it was. What you leave out is as important as what you say. And I think over time, the universities have circled back to recognize that research is very important, not to deny. That's how the world gets better. But teaching is what creates generations, right? So that the next generation is ready to take over and replace us all. So we got serious about teaching. Technology advanced. The initial MOOC revolution happened. But then COVID happened. And COVID really right away, just like World War II, just like the Great Depression, just like 9/11, people will look back on our era and say, wow, COVID, big change. And it was particularly big for us because we had to, the day after, start teaching in a new way for many people. We will continue to learn. We're at the beginning. But I think what the MOOC and what the book is important about is that, particularly Adam, in his dogged research, we've talked to everybody who's anybody who people said, hey, they do this, they do that, they're good at this. So the book contains and the MOOC contains best practices of what's out there. What have we already learned how to do? And maybe a little bit about if you want to do this piece or that piece or that piece. I always call the book a kind of version, our version of the joy of cooking. So you're not going to just take our book and make the cheesecake. You're going to look at our book, see what the ingredients are of cheesecake, kind of mess in your head the way you want it to taste, and go with it. And that's why I think it's an important book, because you don't have to do the research. We did it already. So you'll learn what ASU is doing and what Berkeley's doing and what Georgia Tech is doing and what Michigan's doing and what we're doing. And we do, we editorialize, we give, you can read through it and see that some things we characterize as working great, some things not so good. And I guess the last point I would make about management, and this is my field, is that universities, as Adam said, are structured for the pre-COVID, pre-teaching and learning, flip the classroom. And the work that we've been doing has always been off to the side. We're like this small research unit that does interesting things, like the research lab at the great old GE or AT&T. We come up with great ideas, and if we do, some of them get incorporated, but don't let us touch anything because we might break them. I think where we are now is we are mainstream. We're going to need to be mainstream. Just a quick thing I heard on the radio today in the metropolitan area, most organizations are now a 3-day work week. I mean, it seems like overnight we went from a 5-day, 9 to 5 in the office to 3 days in the office, which means people are living different places, people are working in different ways. And this whole area in education, in our field, this is what the book is about. This is what we do day to day. But now, instead of being the experimental group for what is going to happen 10 years ago, we're right at what do we do now? We're already at the 3-day work week. People are already demanding more interesting classes. So sorry to go on. We obviously care about this a lot.
Obviously. Thank you very much.